So every once in a while, there comes a shonen that is different. It's different from all the rest of your normal shonens. There's no power scaling, there's no bombastic action, and the only fight scene is really of one girl getting karate chopped into agony. That shonen is The Promised Neverland. Lego. What is up, YouTube? It's RS Mario here, bringing you an anime review. It's been a really long time since I did one of these. I've actually got a couple of these in the wings, mainly Michigo and Hatchin and Goblin Slayer. Yes, I'm still going to do the Goblin Slayer review, even though that show ended in like December, because I still want to do that review. But yeah, so I have reviews waiting in the wings, but I wanted to get this one out while it was hot. And man, is it hot. The Promised Neverland is an awesome show. I'm going to try my best not to spoil this, because I still want you, if you have not watched The Promised Neverland, I want you to go in it relatively blind to the major twist of the story. So I'm not going to spoil that at all. I'm going to try to dance around that as much as possible. But yes, The Promised Neverland is a story following three orphans by the name of Emma, Norman, and Ray, and their quest to escape their orphanage and their maniacally evil yet kinda interesting mother, Isabel. So yeah, I mean, this show, again, is interesting. It's one of the reasons why it's one of the biggest anime of winter, as well as being one of the biggest anime of 2019 so far. And so far, the story is very interesting. The only real problems I have with it is, of course, it does leave a lot of questions. Which, I mean, it has a real, like, Attack on Titan Season 1 quality. And if you remember, in Season 1, we got a lot of interesting stuff, but they asked way more questions than they answered, and it took way too long to answer those questions in Season 2. You know, and luckily, I don't think we'll have to wait that long for Season 2 of The Promised Neverland. But yes, it does follow the story of these three orphans trying to get out of their orphanage. And it's a thriller. I mean, there's not a lot of action here. It's really about the suspense. It's about the drama. It's about that. It's almost a horror, because it's kind of an impending dread as this show goes on about these kids trying to get out of this orphanage. And if you're not into action, you probably are not going to be into this show. This show is definitely best binged. Like, if you haven't jumped in, now is the time. Because there's nothing like watching this show and having a cliffhanger and then having to come back at the end, like, the next week. You know what I'm saying? Like, the cliffhangers in this show are just ridiculous. You know, the ending of this season is quite nice, though. Of course, it doesn't answer nearly as many questions, and it sets up for a Season 2, but the ending is quite nice. The animation is great at times, and most of the time it's pretty left on the level as normal animation, which is fine, because it's not like you really need to go insane on an animation budget when there's a lot of dialogue and like lots of like tension scenes. You don't really need uber animation to draw tension out of people. You just need to make it look right, and the characters do. Like, there are characters in here, specifically characters' facial animations, like, you can see them emote all types of emotions. Specifically Isabel. Her faces, you can see her mind, you can see the gears in her mind turning as her face changes. And it's intimidating in its own way. Like, the show does have two antagonists, being Isabel and, of course, Crone, who both are intimidating in their own way. Whereas Crone is intimidating mainly because she is, by all means, better than the kids in pretty much every way. She's just as smart as they are. She is physically stronger and faster than they are. And she intimidates them by proving this time and time again. Isabel is more methodical in the way she proves how good she is to the kids. By basically, in one episode, in one fell swoop, eliminating her competition and setting the kids 5 steps back in one fell swoop. Basically, by looking at her, knowing that the gears of her mind are turning, and that she is 5 steps ahead of you, and you don't even know it. That's Isabel in a nutshell. She's one of the best written villains since Saito from Ajin. And you know how much I love my boy Saito as a villain. At least until they kind of gimped him at the end. But she is one of the best written villains I've seen in an anime in a long time. And she has a perfect place in this show because a big part of the show where there is no action is that tension and that dread you feel for the kids. Now, as far as, you know, the problems with the show, there's not too many. I mean, animation-wise, it's pretty standard animation, but for the really emotional scenes, they do kind of amp it up. They also have a really nice use of CG. Like, there are a couple scenes in here where they use CG animation and it actually makes it eerier, which is weird. The only other problem I really have with the show is, well, I mean, it's not much of a soundtrack, which is not that much of a problem when you have a banger like this. And of course, I did take some time to kind of read through the manga of this, or at least through some of the manga, and I will say that in the show itself does a lot of things better than the manga, but the manga does convey certain characters' feelings better, because like the manga does have a lot of like internal monologue with the characters, and the characters talking to themselves, specifically Isabel and sometimes Norman. And specifically with Isabel, though, there is a scene in here where her internal monologue would have probably helped a lot of people understand her a little bit better. Even though, I mean, I got it. I got where they were going, because they went the show not tell route, which is really good, because a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people like to just exposition it to you in some way. But no, they went with the show not tell route. But I will admit, in this case, maybe having some internal monologue would have helped explain her a little bit better to people. A lot of people were also mad about the tonal shifts in the show, specifically when it comes to Crone. I think Crone was perfect. Like, honestly, like, her look, the way they kind of toned down her facial features, so she doesn't look kind of like a minstrel show. The look of Crone, how she acts, because again, Crone's intimidation on the children is more outward. So a part of her intimidation is the fact that she's unpredictable. Like, you as a character know that Crone is insane. The kids don't know that. They just know that they can't trust Crone, but they don't know just how far Crone is gone. So that right there adds another level of dread with that character Crone and the children. And I think that actually worked out perfectly. So that's not really a problem either. The only problem I really have with it is the questions that aren't answered, that I'm going to have to wait till next season. And the kids. like largely because there's like what I think 30 some odd kids at the orphanage that they're trying to save. They're trying to all escape, and the kids themselves are kind of like moe blobs that you care about because the main characters care about them, but they don't really have character at all. Like, there's a couple of them you see and they do have character, but I can't even remember their names, honestly. But these are the people we care about and we want to see them survive. I think there could have been something more done there, because there's some kids who are pretty instrumental in the stuff that happens in the show, and you don't even remember their names. Honestly, it's it's pretty interesting. But this show is one of the best shows so far. It is this year's Devilman Crybaby. I'll put it there. This show is this year's Devilman Crybaby, and it gets a B. So that's about it for this. I want to do something interesting. I want you guys to tell me what show you would like me to review. It could be an old show, because I'm actually going to start doing some older anime reviews, because I've actually bought a bunch of anime at like sales and stuff. So I want to do some older anime reviews. It could be a newer show, like a seasonal show or something. You tell me what you would like to see me review, and I will do that. I'll probably do that for you, especially if I don't have to buy it. But that's about it for this. Like, comment, subscribe, and as always, please share this video with your anime loving friends and keep it real.